Hello, Flosstube. This is Stasha with Stitch and Crime. It is June 1st, which is once again Daybell Eve, except for we're still picking a jury for her. Last time we talked, it was Daybell Eve again for the unaliving trial of her third husband? Fourth husband. Chad is the fifth husband. So, anyway, spoiler alert, she was found guilty. But the trial that starts this month for Mrs. Daybell, is the conspiracy to attempt the unaliving of her nephew-in-law. But we'll get to the true crime portion later. We have a lot of stitching because a lot of things happened in April and May. Stitching wise, I actually got into See Stitch West, and I am in my cross stitch era. This is my Stitch West t-shirt. See Stitch West? Oh, it doesn't have a year on it. Oh well, this is my Stitch West t-shirt. And I had fun at Stitch West, and I even won a drawing. I was surprised. Do I have the drawing stuff up here? Yeah, if I don't have it in the pile, I will get it for you. So, let's start with Stitch West. And then we will get into stats and everything else for April. So, this was the Stitch West project. And see, I finished it. And we even learned how to make these cute little zipper pulls with the little sheep, because it's Shepherd's Bush. Of course you have to have a sheep. So I have a new little project bag. We also got a floss drop thing. One of the items in a table gift I got was the state of Texas flag, and this pin. This is USA. 3 colors of red, white, and blue floss. Well, it's ecru and red and blue. Kind of the Americana, rather than the actual brights. And I got this cool little bag with stuff in it. I'm assuming that this is an eye mask. I'm not 100% positive. This is a lip balm pot. It's got a little dipper thing. And then when you open it up, there's the balm. There's the balm. And then a pair of scissors. Airplane safe scissors. And a butterfly needle minder. And this is just the perfect size for a wallet. So I've been thinking that this may end up being a wallet when I'm done. Okay, other things from Stitch West. It's a nativity set. Oh wait, no, this isn't Stitch West. This is the Quilt Shop Hop, which was the same weekend as Stitch West. So this is what I got from the Quilt Shop Hop. It's a nativity set and buttons. So Kat, don't look at that. That's your Christmas present or your birthday present, one of them. My friend Kat collects nativity sets. And then I found these buttons. They're the My Little Pony buttons. And then this was my free gift for going to the shop hop. So that's what I got from Quilts Etc. for shop hop, which was the same weekend as Stitch West. And then this was one of the shop hop patterns. This was the shop hop pattern from Pine Mountain Stitcheries. Pine Needles is the shop. And then this was the one for Quilts Etc. So I got 2 quilt blocks. Now we're back to Stitch West. Okay, this was the other pattern that everybody got for being at Stitch West, the Hope Pin Cushion, which will go in my project bag, my piece project bag. And then things that I got at Stitch West because I was shopping, or they were on the freebie table, one or the other. I got Swimming with Scissors from Ink Circles. I got the Abstract Christmas Tree from Salty Stitcher Designs. Salty Stitcher Designs was their vending, and if somebody actually comes and is selling their patterns and is vending at a retreat, it's kind of polite to at least buy one, and I like this one. This is Salty Stitcher Designs. And she had it was cheaper if you bought 2, so I got this one too, this Compass Rose, and it has the threads with it. So this is Salty Stitcher Designs. And then this was on the freebie table, Enriched Geranium. So this, I really like Armada Designs. This is from Armada Designs, and she's one of the ones I like, and it'll stitch up quick. And then I found the Chubby Bunny. Is this just adorable? Can you see that? Is it glaring? I got the Chubby Bunny, and I got the Chubby Squirrel. And I saw this one, I really liked it too. This was on the freebie table, even though it says $10 from Shepherd's Bush. Somebody had put this out on the freebie table, so I picked it up. And then this was on the freebie table. Okay. I'll show you. Okay, we're going to do. See? It is a book of Hardanger from a Hardanger museum. And it's really cool because it also it is the Norwegian American Museum. And it has a bit of the history along with patterns. So I was kind of really excited about getting that. And this is also on the freebie pattern. And after I stitch this, I'm probably going to give this to Sarah because it seems like something that would be up her alley. And then I also got a mystery floss pack. This is from Live and Die LA because she was there. And this is Starling. Pink number 3. Just a nice, pretty rainbow one. Kind of a beige. That looks almost like Aurora Borealis, but a little bit darker. Kind of a blue-gray. No, that's kind of a beach. It looks really green on the screen, but this is a blue and brown. It really looks green on the screen. That still looks... That looks better. It's kind of a blue and a brown. There's the rainbow one. And there's the blue. Now this one is green. Then we have elderberry. Fortune's Fool, because everyone needs a brown. And orange. So those were all the fibers in my $25 mystery floss pack. Except for I do think I bought these two separate, because these usually are about $25. No, they're not. Okay, that's 50 yards. And this is 25 yards. So I think it's about $25 for the two together. I don't remember. Okay. Is there anything else in here? No. Okay. That takes care of Stitch West. Except for I won a prize. I was excited. Okay, I got into Stitch West. I was waitlisted originally for the Shepherd's Bush Stitch West. And then in February, I got a notice saying, hey, you can come if you pay this week. And I was like, can you wait till payday? I need an extra week. And they were cool and gave me an extra week. And then I've never been to a Stitch West, even though they're always in Utah. And I got to go to a Stitch West, and I can say I've been to a Stitch West, and I got there and I didn't have a name tag. And they were like, oh, no, I'm sure we made you a name tag. I don't know why you don't have a name tag. So they made me a name tag. I didn't have the logo or anything on it. It was a piece of paper with my name on it, and I did get a lanyard, so that was nice. I did get the Stitchy gifts. It was a wooden box that looked like it had been made out of rulers that said Stitch West on one side, and then you saw the floss drop thing. That was the other thing we got. And then everything else I showed you was either table gifts or things I bought. Or the two Shepherd's Bush patterns. We got those too. So I did take this project to Stitch West. This is Spiral by Jardin Privé. And the reason I took it is because this is stitched in Aurora Borealis from Live and Die LA. Let's see. That's the sticker from Live and Die LA. So I wanted to kind of show this off to her because this is her fiber. The fabric on this is that blue-green that I got from Stitchery Express that makes white disappear, but look how well that pops on that. It works great for colors. So I've still got 1.5 yards of this somewhere. So we worked on Jardin Privé. In April, I had 11,939 stitches. Yes, I know, I probably should have done 70 stitches on the last day of the month in order to get to 12,000, but I didn't. So 11,939 is where we're at. And I finished the Stitch West bag, which you saw. I worked on Spiral. I worked on Kingdom of Books. Look, I've got 1 row, and then I get to go on to the next page. So I will probably be working on that in June to get that done. At least that row, so I can move on to the next page. Guys, I sound like I have a frog in my throat to myself. Thank you, Miss Bo. Boaz walked in. I worked on Sentinel. This was the April Whip Go, and I put in over 1,000 stitches in on her. So I have finished the top row. Pages 1, 2, and 3, and page 4 are complete. I'm working on page 5 and 6. Page 7 is complete, so I have pages 8 and 9 to do. So there's only 4 pages left. So we are over halfway on Sentinel now. So there is Sentinel. And somebody said I should tell people how long I've been working on these. So just a second. Let me pull this up. I started on Sentinel. This Sentinel was my January 2013 start. So January 2013 was when I started Sentinel, and I put about 750 stitches in her and didn't touch her for 3 to 5 years. So now I've reached the point where I'm down to 25 whips, which is good because I'm on 25 for 25 in Whip Warriors. And I am just focusing on working on 2 whips a month, my 2 whip go pieces. And in April, my 2 whip go pieces were Sentinel and Kingdom of Books, which you've seen. And then for the Strident Sal in Whip Warriors, I worked on Storied Steeds. And all the stitches are done now. It is now just back stitching. There are 14 colors of back stitch in this. I'm dead serious. There are 14 colors of back stitch. Really? You had to use 14 colors? But you know what? It's going to look amazing when it's done. So you can see this side. I've started back stitching here. And you can see the bottom half of the pole is back stitched. And there's a little bit there. I've done the bottom part of that horse, but I have not done the mane or anything. I don't remember which one that is. I just remember that the middle bottom is George the Octohorse. And the unicorns on top, and the hippogriff, and the kelpie. I don't remember the other 2 on the bottom with George. But I will be working on back stitching, and I remember now why I usually don't leave back stitching till the end, and usually do it as I'm going along. But that's hard to do with Pattern Keeper. So I've dropped that one in Markup XP to see if that helps any better. So the other things that got finished in April were Grandma's House, part of my hometown holiday, and the toy store. That got finished. And that is everything for April. So May. So for Mania, it was set your own goals. And I went with a literary mania because the 2 pieces that got called for WhipGo were Alice in Wonderland. This is on Under the Sea's Fiery Skies and stitched with Silks for You. It's PR something. I'd have to look it up. But it's a really nice silk. I'm just using 2 strands. But when I started, Alice had a waist and no skirt. And now she has a skirt and is actually standing on stuff on the ground. So there's my 1,000 stitches on that for WhipGo. And then the other WhipGo piece in May was Goblin Market, which is based on a Christina Rossetti poem. So the verse is now done. The goblins are done. We are still working on the cobweb. And then it'll be the roof of the building, and this upper line right here, that is the upper border. So we are getting very close to being done with this. And it's interesting because when I first started working on this, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like these pastels. Guess what, folks? Pastels are back in style. So this one's now going to be back in style. Those pastel colors are back. At least that's what I'm seeing. Everything when I went shopping. So the sheets on my bed were finally getting to the point where they were just totally worn out. And it turns out that the itching I was having at night had nothing to do with my estrogen tablets and had everything to do with the pills on the sheets. So I went and bought new sheets, and everything was either white, gray, or pastel. There were no bright colors anywhere. So I have sage green sheets and gray sheets. Because I always buy 2 sets, because that way you can make the bed when you wash one set. So, yeah, everything is pastel again. So luckily that piece has come back in style because it's pastel. Okay, so I mentioned Literary Mania. So we did Alice in Wonderland. We did Storied Steeds because they're all mythology. We did Goblin Market based on Christina Rossetti book. I did not get any stitches in on Kingdom of Books, which is sad because I should have done 600 there. I did get the bookstore finished in my hometown holiday. And I am almost done with the schoolhouse. So I did not get my second hometown holiday finished in May. But I probably will not finish it tonight, June 1st, but I will definitely finish it tomorrow. So as of tomorrow, I will have my second hometown holiday for May done. And then since we start a new hometown holiday on the first day of the month, this is the one I should be starting today, but it's not going to happen until I finish the schoolhouse. And I will confess to going through and picking the smallest hometown holiday piece so that I could work on this in June. Because my other Whip Go piece, my June Whip Go piece, is Jack Frost's Tree Farm, also from Little House Needleworks. And this is on that piece of green that the white disappears. And see, you cannot see the white. I mean, right there under the trees, there's white under the trees. It has totally, totally disappeared. So, see, the white just totally disappears. So instead of white, I started using ecru. And look, you can see the white under the reindeer. You can see the white under the building and in the sign. And that is because it is not white, it is yellow. It is ecru. Okay, so Jack Frost Tree Farm will get 1,000 stitches on it. And I am hoping that 1,000 stitches will finish up this center section, and then I will be able to put in a section down here on the bottom, and then I will be able to trim off the extra fabric. Because I couldn't decide if I wanted to do it over 1 or over 2. And I decided to do it over 1, but I cut the fabric for doing it over 2, and I think it's just cuter over 1. So that is the first Whip Go that was called for June. But we are not done with April and May, because in May I picked up my Just Nan Diamond Bouquet. And you know, when I was stitching this, it looked so huge. This is tiny. This is teeny tiny. I mean, teeny tiny. It's as big as a pattern piece. It's just tiny. So anyway, pick this up from Jill Rensel. And I'll just put it right there for now. don't fall down. Okay. And then I got finishing back from Kreations by Kandi. Merry Christmas pillow. The 2025 Just Nan Christmas mouse. This is an example of the difference between over 1 and over 2. The fabric is the same. The fibers are the same. This is over 2 with 2 strands. This is over 1 with 1 strand. This is the size difference between over 1 and over 2. That has been your stitching tip for today. Ornament with blue velvet. My Christmas Joyce. Christmas Joy. Here's my Christmas Joy. That is a Sweetheart Tree pattern. Which I finished in 2021. And I just now got around to giving it to somebody to finish. This is going to get mailed to my sister. It was her Christmas ornament from a couple years ago. This is another Christmas ornament that I just love the way she finished it. Isn't that a fun fabric? Okay. This is what else got finished. Except for it's not May anymore. So we will take May out. We will put May on the bottom. We will take June out of the box. We will attach June to the box. See, there are steel rings there. And there are magnets here. So inside the box, when I lifted it up, they all shifted. Okay, so they were all in order. So June is on the outside. January. February. March. April. May. July. August. And the box can be turned horizontally for September. Back up to vertically for October. Horizontally again for November. And then the end of the year is December. Okay. And they all fit in the box. So I can now put this on my shelf. Straighten it out a little bit. Straighten it out a little bit. I can put it on my shelf and everything's inside. So I will put a link to Kreations by Kandi down below. She is on Instagram. It is Kreations with a K by Kandi, Kandi. And she does take out-of-state commissions, and she is like the most reasonably priced finisher I have found. Seriously, I feel so lucky to have found her. She is amazing. So these are all going to go in my bucket. I have a basket, so I will put things in my basket, except for the one I'm mailing to my sister. So, oh, did I tell you the May stats? I finished May with 10,298 stitches. But that's because things were going on. Things were going on. And I was busy. Okay. So, remember, Stitch West. My favorite dyer was there. Well, one of my favorite dyers. Sorry, Stephanie. Sorry, Leslie. I did not mean to say you were not my favorite, because between you and Valerie, it's a tie. And then there are so many good dyers out there, people. Anyway, Live and Dye LA. This was she said she was clearing out her 28 count linen because she said it does not sell very popular. So I cleared out all her 28 count linen, and she told me if I want 28 count linen, she will dye it for me. Just tell her what colors. So she will do 28 count linen on request. But Live and Dye LA, this is the fabric of the month for April. This is Old World Christmas. And I will admit, I was kind of looking for neutrals, and those are not neutrals. But Mystic Quest, 20 count Ada, that is a neutral. It's just a very lovely pale blue. Snow Flurries, 18 count Ada, this is a nice pale gray. Ecru Brute, just a nice ecru. Fields of Gold, very close to Ecru Brute, just a little more yellow. Cafe au Lait, again, another very nice neutral. I was looking for neutrals. Remember, normally what's sitting over there is bright colors. Most of what you see is bright colors. Think about Alice in Wonderland. That's frickin' tie-dye. Okay. Blank Canvas. Again, another neutral. By the way, that is a fault in the plastic, not in the fabric. And then French Vanilla. It says it's a French Vanilla mistake. But when I opened up the fabric, I did not see any mistakes. So anyway, that is a French Vanilla mistake. And that is all the fibers that I bought at Stitch West. All the fabrics I bought at Stitch West. I did get my final house, the 13th house from the Fabulous Houses series. I got my Tudor style house along with the Garden Gate threads. So that is now all of my houses. Okay, June plans. I've got Uno that I'm playing on semi-sane. To play Uno, you stitch 100 projects a day if a number card is called. 100 stitches if your number card is called. You pick 4 whips because there are 4 colors in Uno. So you have whip 1, whip 2, whip 3, whip 4, unless you're monogamous, and then you do 100, 200, 300, or 400 stitches based on what you're doing. So to the first day of June, the project pulled was card number 1, so I put in 100 stitches on Secret Carousel. And I will put a picture of Secret Carousel. Okay, I've never figured out how to put them in. So it's not going to be up here. It's going to be showing up. It's going to be showing up as a break. So there will be a picture of my new setup, because normally my Haid Secret Carousel sits in my home office. And my husband has been concerned about me stitching during work. And I said, well, it's just too big to really sit anywhere. And he's like, no, I'll pull out one of my drafting tables and we'll just sit it in the TV room, and that way you can watch TV with me while you're working on it. And yeah, it's my Haid, which is on special scroll bars that he made for me. They're 36-inch long scroll rods. So my Haid is on a standard case creation lap frame, not the mini lap frame, the standard lap frame. So that will go wide enough to handle a 36-inch scroll rod. So I have that downstairs, and as I said, I will put a picture in right here. If you haven't already seen the picture, it will be on after the second pointing. So I can now work on it downstairs, and I put in 100 stitches today already, because card number 1 was the one that was called. The other 4 projects that I'm working on for Uno, project number 2 is Kingdom of Books, because remember, I was supposed to stitch 600 on that last month and didn't even touch it. So I need to put in 1,200 this month. So hopefully it'll get called twice, at least a couple times. Project number 3 is the current project by Little House Needleworks, which will be, if it's called tomorrow, it will be either finishing up the schoolhouse or starting the clockmakers. And then once either of those are done, then I will work on Jack Frost's Tree Farm, because that's also Little House Needleworks. And then I don't know what the second Little House Needleworks is going to be for June, because I will just draw one out of the bag. And then the 4th project on my Uno deck is also the second piece called for Whipgo, which is my Nora Corbett Lilac. This is on Monet's Meadow, which you can get at Stitchery Express. So this is Monet's Meadow, Lilac on Monet's Meadow. And I'm stitching that with DMC. Yes, I know. I would normally transfer to Anchor, but it's getting harder and harder to find Anchor since they stopped selling it in the US, and since Joann's, which was my source for it, is out of business. And so, yeah, I'm kind of stuck using DMC, which means that lately I've been switching everything to Classic Colorworks and stitching with that. So, buttons and beads. I was very generously sent the snow globe pattern, so I will probably start that sometime. And thanks to Tina Gorley for sending that to me. I really appreciated it. It was so cute when she did it. And now I'm sitting here going, I have got so many things to start, but I want to start everything like right now. But I'm sticking to 25 and 25, which means I have to finish Storied Steeds before I can start anything. And Odd and Familiar has the next 2 patterns out of the Whispers in the Forest series. There will be 6 patterns altogether, and unfortunately, I am not going to make it to Stitching Sirens this year. It's just not going to happen. Things at work, budget, it just didn't happen this year. So I have Mole, and I have Acorn. And last year I got the Moth and the Toadstool. And then I am on the list to get the last 2 when they are released, because they're not released yet. Also in May was my EGA chapter party. And I feel kind of guilty at how lucky I was this year, because I won the 2 big grand prizes, both of them. I won the cash pot for working on my whips. So in EGA, at the beginning of the year, which will be next month, well, no, this month, June, our meeting's the last Thursday of the month. So the last Thursday of June, we will declare what our whips what our UFOs for the year will be. And I am seriously thinking about declaring my Doctor Who quilt, because I've just got to sit down and embroider it. The trouble is that it's really hard. Most of the games I play count stitches. It's really hard to count embroidery stitches because it's just a stem stitch. Who counts a stem stitch? So I figure if I declare it as my EGA UFO, I will definitely put at least 30 minutes into it during the month, or else I'm going to have to pay into the pot, because you declare your UFO and you have to work 30 minutes on it during the month, or if you come to the next meeting and haven't worked on it, you have to put I don't remember if it's $0.25 or $1 into the pot. Anyway, last year they didn't draw. They forgot to draw for the UFO drawing. So I got 2 years worth of the pot, and it was $59. So that's pretty cool. I don't feel guilty about spending money on stash now for these two, because I won it. And then I also won the gift basket, which is the big prize, the grand prize for the year. And in the gift basket was this pop-up heart sewing case. And it's the wooden hearts that you coat in fabric, and then it opens up to be that sewing case. Somebody gifted me this embroidery pattern, and she said it was really cool because this is there's the Tony special thread packs, and she says a lot of these stitches are from Africa, and it's an African technique, so it's going to my list of things that are already kitted up and ready to stitch. Although I do need, oh no, it's even got fabric in it. Guys, it has got everything in here. Oh, I'm holding it upside down. Ten more years. 10 more years. I retire in 10 more years. And then I will be able to stitch all day as long as my hands don't go crazy. Although I'm really kind of pissed off at my doctor, because my doctor's like, I really don't know that much about hormones, and if you're not willing to take the weekly patch, I just don't know if I can prescribe it to you. I want the twice a week patch, because the twice a week patch is little, and the one he wants me to take is this big, and I don't want something that big if I'm going to wear a swimsuit or something. I want the little patch. So I'm a little pissed. I'm looking for a doctor who will prescribe the hormone for me, so at least before my prescription runs out and my hands stop working. So this was in the basket. This is Cute Embroidery by Kate, and it's full kit. This was in the basket. So I now have a Satsuma Street pattern. I did not have any Satsuma Street before. This was actually one of the ones I won in the drawing that we had for, we did a lottery sort of thing. So I won that one, this one, and a whole bunch of needlepoint canvases that I'm not going to show you right now, because those were all in. And then This was one of the ones I won in my drawing. Where did that come from? This was one of the lottery ones I won. This was a lottery. That was a lottery. This was in the stitching basket, which is really cool because Stitchery Express has the permission from Catherine Strickler to reprint the Indigo Rose patterns. However, Catherine does not have her originals anymore. So they are looking for Indigo Rose patterns that they can basically recreate originals. So this one was not, Elijah Dillon was not on the list of ones they had acquired yet. So this one will be going up to Stitchery Express to get added to the reprint list. So if you are holding on to Indigo Rose patterns, please contact Cindy Sorley. Just drop her an email at Stitchery Express and let her know that you have them so they can put them on the reprint list. Okay, I have this Russian Matroska, Winter Lace Hearthanger, and then somebody copied this out of a magazine and stuck it in one of the things to be drawn. This is a philanthropic project that was done, Hospice Heart, was done by Philadelphia, GKCNG Philanthropic Project. So I don't know what group did it, but that's kind of cool. I will probably not do it in pastels. I will probably do it in purple and black. And this one is out of, I think this is July, August, September 2019 Needlepoint magazine. So somebody had put it in a pile of stuff they were giving away, so it ended up in my bag. And then there are 2 new Just Nans out, so of course my dealer called me and I said, here, let me give you my credit card. So I have Hetty's Rose Garden, Biscornu and Hedgehog, Hetty the Hedgehog. I have Blooming Butterfly. This should be a really quick stitch. I could probably do this one in a weekend. It's only 49 by 35. So I will probably end up doing that in a weekend. And then my dealer said, oh, I saw you finish Diamond Bouquet. Have you done Patience? No, I don't have Patience. Patience was a class in 4 parts. And now I have Patience. But will I have patience to stitch them all? Okay. Oh my gosh, guys. We are almost at an hour and we have not even gotten to the true crime part. The other thing that happened was I got a Black Needle Society box. Guys, I don't remember ordering a Black Needle Society box. Maybe this is part of the magic and they just appear. But we will unbox the Black Needle Society box. Shh. Don't tell anybody I used my quilt cutter for tape. I'll have to have my husband resharpen it. So, we have Stitchy Magic packed just for me. I seriously do not remember ordering this box, so I honestly do not have any idea what is in it. But apparently it is the Fictional Worlds special edition. A candle, Valaris the Night Court. Yep, definitely a candle. And it smells really nice. I think that's going to That's going to go to the tub. Because, you know, when you have that adult time out, you go to the tub, you light candles, and you have your tub snacks. If you've not heard about bathtub snacks, you need to Google it. It is the cutest story. Okay, we have 4 Night Stalkers Calling silks. I love Night Stalkers Calling silks. I got a Night Stalkers Calling Christmas box one year. Well, December holiday box. It was amazing. I love the feel of Night Stalkers Calling. We have a Narnia keyring. I'm assuming it's a keyring. But that is winter in the wardrobe. That was a nice thing. Retreat in a Box exclusive. Is this supposed to be a retreat in a box? I don't know. Oh, King's Landing. The King's Landing Needle Minder. That is the King's Landing Needle Minder. Apparently it was an exclusive. Someone sent us a stamp from King's Landing, Game of Thrones. It's a gorgeous view of the Red Keep. Fun fact, the stamp is 8 cents because only 8 characters survived the entire series. Okay, this is the Empyrean Thread Pack. Inspired by the world of Empyrean, 4th Wing. And I have never read those. Okay. The Prancing Pony Square. Enjoy your stay at the Prancing Pony. From Lord of the Rings. This was inspired by a bar coaster, but do not set your drink on it. And it's a 3-inch square, so you can measure from the corner of your fabric to where you should start. Okay. The Narnia Wardrobe Thread Jewelry. The Valaris Candle. I found a list of what's in here. The Mermaid Cove scissor set from Peter Pan. Okay. Yellow Brick Road fabric. 16 count Ada from Mystic Fabrics. I don't think I've stitched on a Mystic fabric before, so we'll have to check that out. War of Wonderland accessory pouch. Wonderland is quite a strange... Hold on. Let me get all the crunching out of the way. Okay. For those of you that liked crunching, you're welcome. For those of you that hate crunching, I'm sorry. So, War of Wonderland accessory pouch. Wonderland is quite a strange world that doesn't really make sense. No wonder you've landed yourself in the middle of what looks to be a war between 2 queens. Which queen will you fight for, the White Queen or the Queen of Hearts? Either way, this pouch will keep your stitching essentials safe from the battle. That's got a nice handle and nice little project bag. Oh, this is the 100 Acre Woods bag. I have heard people talking about this. Oh my gosh, people. I have 100 acres wood bag. This. Oh my gosh. It is large enough for a scroll frame. Oh. It disappears inside it. I could zip it closed. That can now start looking at that. The only trouble is when I put projects in bags that I can't see into, they disappear and I forget that they exist. But I'm going to be working on the Doctor Who quilt. This would be like the perfect bag to put the Doctor Who quilt in. It is a big, huge, spacious bag, and it's got like pockets for things. This is like the perfect quilt bag, quilt project bag. Yes, Doctor Who is going to live in 100 Acre Woods for now. And the bookshop from Flossie Fox. That's a cute project. Oh my gosh, guys, this was a wonderful box. Oh, this was definitely, I don't remember ordering it. So if somebody gifted this to me, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was an amazing box. So guys, Black Needle Society, that was a wonderful box. Okay, we have covered everything stitchy. Okay, folks, that's everything stitchy. Remember, a pattern is placed to start, and if you do not want to stick around for crime, now is the time to bail. Okay, folks, when we left off last time, Lori Daybell was just about to go to trial for the unaliving of her husband, Charles Vallow. And they were calling her Lori Vallow. And if you want more on Lori Vallow Daybell, just Google Doomsday Mom. She is the lady who was born in California to a father who, he's not, I don't know if he considers himself a sovereign citizen, but he doesn't believe he should have to pay the IRS anything. So he has done a lot of pro se defense work, trying to keep himself out of jail, which he did serve 20 months, so didn't work too well. So Lori is following Daddy's example and being Daddy's girl and is representing herself in trial. And her April trial, which was her second trial, because the one in Idaho where she unalived her children and her whatever number Chad is husband's wife, she conspired with her brother Alex, who's also no longer alive and who amazingly passed away on the day they decided to exhume Tammy's body. Tammy is the former wife of Lori's current husband, who is, spoiler, he has received an opportunity for execution from the Idaho prison system. I'm trying to use the words that YouTube says I can't. I'm trying to avoid the words YouTube says I can't use. So, Lori was found guilty in April, but there were some highlights in the trial. Did you know that bamboo shirts are bulletproof? Apparently Lori thinks so, because all the evidence said that for the second shot, Charles was laying on the floor, and that the exit wound was up against a hard surface. Lori kept trying to argue that no, that was his bamboo shirt. So apparently bamboo shirts are fine going in, but not going out. Still trying to work that one out. I tend to think the jury got it right when they said, no, he was lying on the floor for the second shot. So the other thing, and you can be the jury on this one, Charles had 2 holes in him, both in the chest. The first one was pretty much a through and through his heart. There were abrasions on his knees. And then there was a second hole, a second set of holes that went upwards, kind of entering low in the stomach area and exiting the shoulder. And the exit wound in the shoulder indicated that there was a hard surface behind it. Most likely the floor, because there was, all forensic testified there was a scuff mark on the floor, and they had pictures to prove it. Lori kept saying that no, it was his bulletproof bamboo shirt that cost $200. And I love the detective who said, I have no idea how much his shirt cost. So, think about that a second. He was shot, hit the floor with his knees, because there were abrasions to his knees. Yet, when police and paramedics arrived, he was lying on his back. Lori swore she wasn't there. And Alex swore he's like, well, I did perform CPR, except for the paramedics said it was obvious CPR had not been performed. So, that was interesting. I think the jury made the right connection there. And I have my own suppositions about who fired the second shot. The interesting thing is that Lori, when one of the witnesses said that Lori told her that she was a translated being and was therefore not subject to earthly laws and was incapable of sin. Yeah, right. Lori, in order to try and clear her name, kept asking this witness about different biblical characters who had been translated. From the Book of Mormon, there are the 3 Nephites. From the Bible, she talked about Elijah and John the Revelator. And the state objected, saying, why are we, these are inappropriate questions. So there's no reason to be asking these questions. There's no merit to the questions. Relevance was the objection. And Lori was saying, I was accused of being outside of LDS doctrine, and I'm just trying to prove that translated beings are part of LDS doctrine. And the judge made the comment, well, if you think it's relevant to compare yourself to biblical characters, I'll allow it. And Lori feels that shows the judge was biased against her. Frankly, I think it shows the judge was giving her a lot of leniency, because these were not relevant questions. Anyway, remember, translated beings don't get sick, are not subject to earthly laws, and cannot sin. Yet, jury selection Friday for Lori's third and final trial for the conspiracy to unalive her nephew-in-law. Basically, this is the husband of her nephew, the ex-husband of her niece. And all of a sudden, my nose is itching. And I know you're not supposed to scratch your nose on screen, but not gonna, guys. Okay, so, they had to halt jury selection because Lori was sick. I thought translated beings didn't get sick. Oh well. Personally, I think she's going to try and delay the trial because she wants a different judge. And this judge has indicated that they have a hard stop at the end of June. They have another trial they're supposed to be part of. And I think Lori's going to try and push it until she gets a new judge. And I hope if she does manage to push it to get a new judge, I hope the next judge is a lot harsher on her than this one has been. So anyway, other trials we've talked about. Corey Richens. Corey Richens is the one who had a ghostwriter write a children's book on grief after the overdose death of her husband. And it was shortly after she started doing a promotional book tour that she was arrested for the unfortunate unfortunate unaliving of her husband, saying it was not an accidental overdose and it was not self-administered. And last April, when we talked about this case before, we mentioned that the state had allowed that either 4 or 5 pages of her orange notebook, her journal, where she confesses to unaliving her husband, is going to be allowed as evidence. She, of course, is using the defense that she's an author and these are her notes on fictional stories. Anyway, we are not going to be talking for Corey for quite a while because Corey's defense team wants the trial moved out of Summit County. They claim that the Richens family is way too powerful to hold the trial in Summit County, and she can't get a fair trial in Summit County. Let me tell you something. The Richens family may be a big deal in Camas, but the rich folks in East Canyon and Park City don't give a squat about a big deal in Camas. In fact, as the judge put it, when her first defense team was arguing that she couldn't get a fair trial in Summit County, the judge said, "Excuse me, we seated a jury for Gwyneth Paltrow. Are you saying that your client is more famous than Gwyneth Paltrow?" And her attorney just kind of looked a second and then said, "Well, yes." I was like, really? Really? And then her attorney went ahead and did an episode of 2020 where they talked only to Corey's side of the situation, and totally left out the fact that she has a second trial going on for financial fraud. And we haven't heard, the financial fraud stuff is kind of on hold until after the unaliving trial. Although I'm thinking maybe they should move forward on the financial fraud stuff now that the unaliving is on permanent hold. Except for the judge has already ruled that the financial fraud stuff will happen after the unaliving. Seems that Corey may have been signing her husband's name to financial documents and taking loans out without him knowing about it. Especially since the marital home was his asset before they got married. And she had maxed out the possible HELOC she could get on it. So, anyway, Corey will just sit in jail until all the appeals to move her trial to a different county are exhausted. The judge warned her that this could be years. And her defense team was like, "Oh, no, it'll only take months." Good luck. It'll probably take years. So we'll hear about Corey again when we hear about Corey. And my big fear is that given the hazardous lifestyles that some of the witnesses have, and some of the witnesses for this trial have, we've already lost one to a motorcycle accident. It would not surprise me if by the time she gets ready to go to trial, they're out of the witnesses to testify. So this could be interesting. So, other things that happened between April and May. We had the hearing leading up to the preliminary hearing. Basically the one where they say, are you going to be held in bond and held with or without bond until you get your preliminary hearing? For Catherine Restelli, Tracy Grist, and Kevin Ellis. So, remember how we talked about Lori Daybell was involved in the unfortunate unaliving of her fourth husband, who came to get his kids to take them to school, and so, she claims he forgot his phone. Everybody else says she took his phone, and she had his phone for 3 to 4 days before the police actually got it from her. But anyway, he went back in for his phone and was unalived by her brother. So, surprise, surprise, we had a case in American Fork here where Matthew Restelli, his wife took the kids, went to American Fork. They were living in California. So she went to her mother's. Catherine Restelli is the wife, the widow. And Tracy Grist is her mother. And Kevin Ellis is her brother, who was, I'm still a little fuzzy on this. Either he was out on parole or had served his sentence. Either way, the man was not allowed to have a handgun. So anyway, Matthew Restelli was coming up from California to supposedly get his wife and children and go back to California and work things out. At least that's what all his text messages say. However, his wife went out on a date the day after her brother unalived her husband. She already had a Tinder date lined up. Really. Her mother Googled Donna Adelson. People. Your Google history is going to sink you. Maybe that's one of the reasons I do this channel, is so that my Google history, I can just say, oh, that was for Stitch and Crime. That was just Stasha looking up things for the show. Okay, anyway, they held the bond hearings for Tracy and Catherine. Kevin's hearing had been held in March because Kevin is not waiving his speedy trial rights, kind of like Lori Daybell didn't waive hers either. And Kevin's case has now been separated from the women's. So the women are being charged with conspiring to unalive him, and Kevin is being charged with the actual deed. So anyway, we will hear from Tracy and Catherine and Kevin in August if hearings are open. Because after watching the Daybell spectacle and what's going on with Koberger in Idaho, Utah courts are kind of getting a little smart, and they're sealing things and saying, let's wait till the trial to allow the press access. But, this is the world we live in. True crime, 24/7 news cycle. But there is some good news in the true crime world. And that is that Jeremy Best, who a year ago, February, was arrested. Oh, okay. Let me back up and remind you who Jeremy Best is again. On a cold February day in Idaho, Jeremy Best walked into a convenience store stark naked and wanted to purchase some items. And before he could purchase his items and leave. And I don't even want to know where he was holding his cash, because he was wearing nothing. Anyway, he was picked up and taken to East Idaho Regional Medical Center, supposedly to do a psych hold, because he was walking naked into a convenience store. Anyway, they did not keep him 24 hours. And the next thing we know, neighbors are calling because they heard noises that weren't fireworks, because we don't have fireworks in February in Idaho. I'm not in Idaho, but I'm assuming they have the same laws that Utah does. And Jeremy's wife, Callie, was found unalive on the floor. Callie was pregnant, so their unborn child was also deceased. They had decided to name the little girl Freya. So Callie and Freya were lying on the floor in the house, and Jeremy and Zeke, 18-month-old Zeke, were nowhere to be found. Massive manhunt went forward, and Jeremy was found naked as a jaybird inside a sleeping bag. Zeke was nowhere. He was later located not too far from where Jeremy had crashed the truck. And there will be no trial for Jeremy Best. Jeremy has taken a plea deal and pled guilty to first degree for his son Zeke and second degree for Callie and Freya. So by pleading guilty, the death penalty is off the table, and his sentencing will be July 23rd of 2025. So not this month, but next month we'll have the sentencing for Jeremy Best and find out. He's probably staying for life in Idaho. I remember in his bond hearing, he kept saying, I'm not mentally ill, and he's not my lawyer. And it just made everybody realize, yeah, he is mentally ill. If you have a strong stomach and are not haunted by horrible things happening to children, Gavin Peterson's stepmom was sentenced. And the sentencing was broadcast. And it was horrific to listen to. And I am really hoping this woman never, ever leaves jail. And the judge said that he is recommending to the parole board that she never leaves prison. But unfortunately, the most he can give her is 15 years. And then it's up to the parole board. If she could, the judge said if she could, she would make sure that this woman would never, ever be let out again. Gavin Peterson was a 12-year-old boy who was starved to death by his stepmother. And they did other things to him as well. So I'm not going to share more than that because it's haunting. It's horrible. And all I can think is this woman's related to Joseph Mengele. That's seriously where I would put her. In comical crime news, to kind of lighten up from Gavin Peterson's case, Nicholas Rossi, who was arrested in Scotland claiming to be Arthur Knight, but DNA proved he was Nicholas Rossi, also known as Nicholas Alaverdian. He wants to have his name changed in court to Alaverdian. He has now admitted that yes, he is Nicholas Rossi, but he doesn't like the name Rossi anymore, so he wants to be Nicholas Alaverdian for all the procedures. And the judge has said, no. Everybody, you were going under the name of Nicholas Rossi when you committed these crimes, so that is the name you are going to be known by in these court proceedings. And he's upset. He's claiming that it causes him psychological trauma to be called Rossi. And the judge is like, and it didn't cause psychological trauma when you raped and battered these women? So, yeah, he's got 2 charges here in Utah for SA and battery. One in Utah County and one in Salt Lake County. May 13th, both Salt Lake and Utah counties denied bail. Also denied doing a name change. The Salt Lake County trial will be in August, during the same time the Koberger trial is going on. And the Utah County trial will be in September. Hopefully the Koberger trial will be over by then. Okay, Jennifer Gledhill. Jennifer Gledhill is the lady who Restelli was in July 2024. Gledhill was September or October of 2024. Her husband was part of the Utah National Guard and didn't show up for drill one weekend. And his National Guard buddies started looking for him. And when police went to his house, they found Jennifer's parents cleaning the bedroom. And they had already disposed of the mattress. And there was a new mattress arriving from Amazon. And originally, Jennifer's parents were charged with aiding and abetting. And then that was later dropped to interfering with a police investigation. And I can't seem to find anything. I can't seem to find if charges were dropped or if they pled guilty to lesser charges, if they negotiated a plea deal. But basically, they were cleaning the room after the incident. And Jennifer's husband's body has not been found. However, the top of the Carrie case, you know how they have those car racks you pack stuff in and put on top of the car? The top part of that Carrie case was located along the Legacy Highway corridor, which is where there's a bird refuge and other things. The top of that Carrie case was located with her husband's blood in it. The bottom half of the Carrie case and his body are still not found. And people are still looking for them. So her trial, she's had her preliminary hearing. Her trial will be in December of 2025. Right now, if it's not delayed. But right now, her trial is set for December of 2027. So, Brian Koberger. We saved the big one for last. Brian Koberger is accused of the brutal unaliving of 4 University of Idaho students in Moscow, Idaho. It's been over a year. So it would have been November, December 2023. Anyway, Dateline did a show on Brian and on what happened on Kings Road. And there was some information that was supposed to be under seal, and the judge is furious and has demanded the prosecution find out where the leak came from, whether it came from the prosecution's office or the defense office, and he wants to know where Dateline got the information. Some of the information I think Dateline could have gotten by going door to door asking, hey, did anybody have doorbell cam footage? Does anybody have any security footage? I think the video of the car could have been obtained by going door to door and saying, hey, did anybody turn any footage over to the police? Could we have it too? But the cell phone records and the Google searches that possibly came from law enforcement. So right now there is a massive hunt for the leaker, and the defense team is asking for that to delay the trial, since they are supposed to start jury selection next month. And the defense has said that they're still not ready, that there's still so much evidence to go through. And the judge is like, why did you not hire more people? I would have given you money to hire more people. And, there is no reason that with all the electronic data they were given, everything was given to them electronically, they could have easily hired a whole slew of interns from the University of Idaho legal section and had them go through all this evidence. The defense screwed up. And if they're not ready, that's going to be interesting. But I really hope that they don't use that as a reason to set things up for appeals. And I would hate to see this guy get out on technicality, because everything, but again, he's innocent until proven guilty, but everything I've seen, his DNA was at the crime scene. The description by one of the surviving roommates kind of fits him. His vehicle, if you believe Dateline, his vehicle was seen driving around Kings Road. It's looking pretty bad. And, it would suck for him to get off on technicality if he is guilty. But hey, we'll see what happens when the trial starts in August. Okay. That is everybody on my list. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. If I have mentioned a trial or a case and you're wondering, hey, whatever happened to that? Drop me a line in the comments. If you're subscribed and you enjoy the content, if you're not subscribed and you enjoy the content, please subscribe. Since I talk about stuff that the YouTube algorithm doesn't like, I'm really hard to find. So if you hit like, that'll help. Feel free to tell your friends. But anyway, have a wonderful summer. Enjoy June. Enjoy your stitching. And I will see you all later, like after the Brandon Boudreaux trial. Thanks all. Bye.